We are live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Boxing Fanatico Live, episode 87, as we continue and power through to make it to eventually episode 100 and maybe beyond. All right, let's go ahead and switch over right quick. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for stopping by for the Boxing Fanatico show. We love to have you. And of course, we got to start off with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ep.87. Let me see if I can pull this up. Where is it? There we go. Ep.87 with the Let's Go champ. Thank you so much for your support, Hashim, in each and every one of these live streams. And of course, we also have to start off the show with Michael Buffer, because that's an important thing. He christens every one of these episodes.
Gentlemen.
There we go. Let's get ready to rumble. Boy, was it a packed Saturday. It was a packed Saturday. Fights everywhere you look, there was a fight. There was some type of UFC had a fight. That's how many fights there were. It was nonstop fights. It was good to be a boxing fan on Saturday. Adrian Dones, what's good, Fanatico? We in here. What's going on, brother? David Morales, the mod, one of the mods with Hashim.47 and AP whatever. We love to have you here as well, brother. How are you, Fanatico? What's good, everybody? What's going on? We got Change, aka Pots. What? Man, I don't know what you saying. AKA Poltices. I don't get it, bro. AP, whatever, my boys, what's going on? The Casanova Pugilist, salute, chat. Las Vegas Brawls, the cripples in this MF. What's going on? What's up, brother? What's up? Salute, brother Anthony Murchison. What's going on? All right, it's time to talk. First of all, we gotta do an RIP. We gotta do a rest in peace to the Fanatico streak. Now, the Fanatico streak was actually a really impressive one, if I would say so myself. 13 fights in a row is not an easy feat. We had a bunch of 50-50 fights in there, and we landed on this 50-50 fight, and we predicted that Sonny Edwards was going to yes, I did make an official prediction for Sonny Edwards. I had Sonny Edwards winning the fight. We predicted that Sonny Edwards was going to win that fight. He was going to be able to outbox Bam Bam Rodriguez on the outside. We seen Rodriguez have problems before with body shots and people being able to kind of stay on the outside of range. But Bam Bam Rodriguez did his thing. He was able to bother Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards, in my opinion, was doing very well in the beginning of the fight. The first round he took. The second round, Bam Bam took. But the third and fourth round, it looked like it was going in a smooth direction for Sonny Edwards, but then just fell off a cliff. Once you started seeing Sonny Edwards' face kind of fall apart, so did his fight strategy and what he was doing in the ring. Bam Bam is just such a good boxer puncher. You can't take the boxer part away from Bam Bam Rodriguez. So much so that after that performance, a crazy knockdown too, by the way, but after that performance, I had to put my man Bam Bam Rodriguez in the pound for pound list. So my pound for pound list, if you haven't seen it on the community tab or on Twitter. By the way, guys, if I don't go live here on YouTube, I am constantly tweeting after every round. So you can catch my thoughts on each round on Twitter. So always make sure to follow me on Twitter. The link is down in the description box below. And you could see what I'm thinking after every round. But for the most part, I was giving it to Bam Bam even before the corner stopped the fight. I only really had the first round, the second and third round going to Sonny. Everything else was just going straight to Bam Bam. He was pretty much outboxing the boxer. He was leaning into his boxer part of his boxer puncher and leaning into his puncher part in his boxer puncher repertoire. Bam Bam is a beast. I would love to see him now move back up and fights maybe Chocolatito Gonzalez or Juan Francisco Estrada. I mean, he already beat one of the demons in that division with Sarah Visai. So I would love to see a Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. The only person to ever really beaten Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, in my opinion, was Sarah Visai, and Bam Bam made him look average. So if Bam Bam could do that to Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, that's going to be pretty epic. But I do have him now as 10th in 10th place in my pound for pound ranking. So Bam Bam, he deserves it. He deserves it. 2 divisions, unified for the world title against Sonny Edwards. Sonny Edwards is arguably, to a lot of people, one of the best UK fighters of all time. So for him to be able to do that in a competitive division, in the sense where the smaller guys always fight each other. That's what they always do. So you're always getting the top of the top, because if somebody's undefeated down there, it's because they're very good. So both Bam Bam and Sonny Edwards are 2 amazing fighters. So once he beat Sonny Edwards, unified for the titles, became is a 2 division champion, but did that to Sonny, I had to give the man his flowers. He is now number 10, and finally on my pound for pound list. Artur Beterbiev fell off the list because of his entry into the pound for pound list. Also, David Morrell got a 2nd round knockout of Azbeko. I mean, that's just going to continue the narrative of him being the 3rd man, right? The 3rd man out, the 3rd wheel between the Benavidez and Canelo saga. There was a sparring footage that leaked of Benavidez and Bivol, and Benavidez was destroying Bivol in the sparring footage. That's an interesting take, because that adds to the story of the Benavidez versus Canelo fight. I was kind of taken back by the sparring footage. It looked like vintage Benavidez, and Bivol looked lost. However, we never know with sparring. Sometimes it's, I want to see if I could take your punches. I want to see if I could defend. I want to see what I can do without throwing back, and then the other person knows that that's what the person's working on. So then they make it really difficult for them and try to get them to get good work, so to speak. So we don't ever really know with sparring footage, but it was kind of crazy to see him beating up on Bivol. Yikes. And he looked much bigger than Bivol too. Bivol looked little compared to Benavidez. And we also had Chris Colbert losing by knockout in the 6th round to Venezuela. I feel that this was coming. This was on the horizon. We were waiting for this moment to kind of happen, because Chris Colbert was literally running with the fact that he outboxed Venezuela in the first fight. But to me, that was, robbery gets thrown around a lot, but I think that was one of the more questionable decisions when it comes to boxing, that first fight. But when you end it with an exclamation mark, there's no more need to talk. Just like what Juan Manuel Marquez did with Manny Pacquiao. There were so many close fights. No fight was legitimately Manny's or legitimately Juan Manuel Marquez. But Juan Manuel Marquez ended it with an exclamation mark, finished the whole conversation. And, there was no more, there was nothing else to be said after the knockout. And I think after a knockout like this, which is possibly, should we say maybe knockout of the year? Could be knockout of the year. I mean, he slept him face first, kind of like a Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez, now that I'm thinking about it, although the Manny Pacquiao one was much, much worse, in my opinion, the way he hit the floor. But still, in that fashion, face first, knocked out cold, but his head, neck on the ropes, kind of crazy. I think this might be knockout of the year. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this could be a knockout of the year kind of knockout? If you haven't seen it, look at the highlights. It's a crazy knockout. Put Chris Colbert to sleep. All right. So that was the crazy wrap up from this week. If you did not watch boxing this week, I don't know what's going on. There was so much boxing. Everywhere you look, there was some boxing, right? And we had some amazing, even the Sonny Edwards and Bam Bam Rodriguez fight, where everybody thought, oh, this fight is going to be the boring one of all these fights or whatever. That ended up being an exciting fight, because Sonny Edwards stood there and and fought with him, even though Bam Bam clearly had more power than Sonny Edwards. But kudos to Sonny. Hopefully he bounces back. He's a cool guy. I've hung out with Sonny a bunch of times, and he's just a really, really down to earth. The guy that is on Twitter to kind of like hype his fights or whatever, he's not really that guy. He's a really nice, cool person. So hopefully he doesn't get too much backlash, because I know, he was a slick boxer, and he was also a slick talker on Twitter. So a lot of people gave him a lot of flack. But trust me, when you really actually meet the guy, he's a really, really cool guy. But anyways, let's move on and let's talk about the most hot topic, the hottest topic in boxing. Is Tank and Haney gonna fight next year, 2024? What's gonna happen? Hold on, let me see what you guys were saying previously. This weekend going to be lit. Yeah, this weekend's going to be fire too. Yo, how's your prediction streak? It's over, brother. It's over. Strickland versus DDP was more exciting than Edwards versus Covington. Okay. We need the heavyweight card prediction, Fanatico. Oh, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do the official prediction on that card, but we're going to do that the day before, right? We got to make sure we do that the day before, as we always do. Yes, I did make an official prediction. I picked Sonny Edwards. The streak is over. We are down. We went down at 13. As I told you, for you to think that I was going to last all the way until the Canelo fight, that is going to be a monumental task. No human being on earth can last that long predicting boxing fights, because anything could happen in boxing. But we're going to keep on, we definitely going to keep our accuracy high, right? We're going to keep our accuracy very, very high, because that's what we do here at Boxing Fanatico. We might not get them all right, but we're going to get a lot of them right. You don't have to say RIP to your streak. You're just not undefeated anymore. There we go. Nah, that doesn't count. The undisputed bias was there. We know you weren't allowed to. Sonny is practically a coworker. Nah, man. Nah, it's not like that, man. It's not like that. What's going on, ASAP TV? What's up, brother? Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Fire, what's going on? Chris went to sleep. Yes, he did. I don't remember any other KOs this year, so yeah, probably that's KO of the year. I think so. I'm a Tank fan, but I think he and his team are ducking hard, and it pains me to admit it. Okay, so there was a allegation that Devin Haney sent over a $20 million offer to Tank. Now, one thing that I do see is Twitter. I'm always on Twitter, always checking what's going on with boxing, and I see, people like Leonard Ellerby and Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis. And Gervonta Tank Davis is an interesting one, because whenever he tweets, it's almost like an event, because he barely tweets. He almost never tweets. So when Gervonta Tank Davis says something, it's like, whoa, we got to pay attention here. What's he saying? Because sometimes it leads to some sort of a narrative of us understanding where's his head at. For example, when he's like, yo, peace out, guys. Thank you for your support. I'll see you guys early next year. We knew, he's not fighting anymore this year. He's going to fight in the early period of next year, either January, February, or March. So it's always good to see what he has to say. There has been some sort of a back and forth where it looks like there's communication between the Haneys and Tank's team, but it doesn't look like the needle is moving much. And I say this because when it comes to boxing, silence is always deafening. I always say that. When you hear nothing, that's more likely when things are happening, because in the back end, they're making contracts, they're signing contracts, they're negotiating contracts, they're sending counter offers. So there's no incentive to talk in the public eye. Now, if you want to create a political dynamic and you want to have people believe one side over the other, or kind of have an audience favor what you're doing versus what the other person is doing, that's when you talk in the public square. That's when you start talking to the public. You start saying stuff like, hey, Haney, you should have done this. Right, everyone? That's basically what Twitter is, right? Because these guys have each other's phone numbers. They're in the same inner workings. They can communicate with each other without communicating that so that we can see it. When they do that, that is political posturing, in my opinion. So do I think what they're doing is showing that the fight will happen soon? I don't think so. What I think what they're doing is helping ensure that there is hype behind the fight whenever it finally pops off. When I think about this, I think about it in the way of Crawford and Errol Spence, but it's flipped in a funny way. I look at Devin Haney as Crawford and as Errol Spence, and I look at Tank as Crawford and as Errol Spence. Or maybe as Crawford and as Errol Spence. Whatever. Here's the reason why. Because Devin Haney is the guy that doesn't have as much clout as Tank, which makes Tank the Errol Spence in that situation, and Devin Haney the guy that wants to fight Errol Spence or Tank Crawford, right? And he's the one that is kind of probably the one that wants it more than Errol Spence. In my opinion, I always felt that it leaned a little bit more towards Crawford wanting Spence than, Spence wanting Crawford, right? Even though he probably did, he wasn't jumping out of his seat to fight Crawford, while Crawford was jumping out of his seat to consistently always try to get the Spence fight. I see it in that way. But then it's flipped in terms of Devin Haney is the one with more accomplishments, in the sense of he got the belts. He's collecting all the belts and stuff like that. Although Crawford was undisputed, he was undisputed at a lower weight class. There's still kind of that same kind of thing. But the person with the majority of the belts or whatever is Devin Haney, because Tank, he doesn't collect belts. So when it comes to the person that people would say he got the better resume, when it was always Errol Spence had the better resume than Crawford, although I didn't necessarily agree with that statement, I can see where it's coming from, especially at the 147-pound level. It's looking like Devin Haney with the Lomachenko win and the Regis Prograis win. He's building a much better resume than Tank. So they're both Crawford and Errol Spence in this situation, but the cash cow is 100% Tank. And when the cash cow is Tank, he calls all the shots. That's just how it works. He's going to call all the shots. Nothing will move or get done if Haney sends them an offer. Nothing is going to happen. So when Bill Haney says, hey, I sent them a $20 million offer, that doesn't mean anything, because to them, they're like, what are you talking about? You don't send us offers. When we're ready to fight you, we will send you an offer that you have to accept. If you don't want to accept that offer, we're going to look at what your concessions are. And if it's way too out of what we're looking to do, we're going to go ahead and end that conversation. So when you're the A side, you have all the power. The other fighter has no choice but to kind of concede to a lot of the things that you have put forth. And oh my goodness, we got another member, Michael R. Davis, the new member. You know what happens, right? We got to play the member video. We got to play the member video real quick, and we're gonna play it twice, because it's super nice to see somebody become a member. That rhymed. That's why I did it like that. Here we go. New member. Thank you, Michael Davis, for joining the Boxing Fanatico family. We're going to play that one more time. Let's go. New member in the house. Thank you so much, brother. We love to see it. We got Hugh the Dev in here as well. What's up, my boy Fanatico, bro? I've been busy. Sorry I missed a few episodes. And whenever they do fight, I got Tank knocking Devin out in the 7th round. Okay. Okay, all right, and welcome. We're always here for you whenever you decide to drop in. I think that it's gonna be a very difficult situation. It's going to be a very, very difficult situation. Ryan Garcia wanted the fight so bad. He knew that was a good clout fight, right? So he just decided, you know what? I'm going to take all of the rehydration clauses and this and that. I'm going to do all of that because I want to fight you. It's very obvious to me that Devin Haney can't comfortably fight at 135. He can't. The man looked incredibly comfortable at 140 going into a world championship fight immediately. I cannot see the man going into a back to 135 with a rehydration clause, considering the fact that he rehydrated to 165 pounds on the night of the fight, which is an insane amount of weight to gain for a fight. for one day, right? So obviously that means that he is really killing himself, even to make 140. He's killing himself because the way you rehydrate, how somebody rehydrates is a breadcrumb to how difficult it is for them to even make the weight. It means that your body doesn't want to be that low. It doesn't want to be that low. There's actually a thing in fitness and science called the body set point theory, where there's a set point for a lot of people and your body wants to stay at that point. Whenever you go too far up, you start to lose weight to kind of get closer to the set point. Whenever you go too far down, you start to gain weight very easily to get close to that set point. And it looks like Devin Haney is killing himself, possibly even to make 140, which is why he wanted to hop, skip, and jump right to 147, because the man is rehydrating to 165. It reminds me of Canelo Alvarez, who just rehydrates, who used to fight at 154 and rehydrate to this crazy number. I remember he fought Floyd Mayweather at 152. There wasn't a rehydration clause. There was a catch weight of 152, but he ended up rehydrating to 160 to 164 or 165 off of 154, which is crazy, which also begs to the Devin Haney rehydration is actually even more insane than that, which is actually pretty impressive how much weight he was able to gain in one day. But bro, it's very obvious that he can't make 135. It's very, very obvious, in my opinion, he can't make 135. So why will he even go to 135 and add a rehydration clause? You're basically going to get the worst version of Devin Haney. He's probably not even 100% at 140. He's probably like 75% at 140. If he moves up to 147, he's probably finally going to be like at 90% of who he is, right? Maybe even 154. Like, the man is rehydrating to a crazy amount. Probably 154 is his actual like weight, which is crazy to think of, but that might be his actual comfortable weight. But then he can't, like, there's an advantage to being able to rehydrate so much versus somebody who's much smaller than you. So yeah, I don't see it with the rehydration clauses. Devin Haney's going to have to continue to build his name. In terms of the rumors that are out there for his pay-per-view buys, they're saying around possibly 60,000. There's also talks that maybe it hit 100,000, 120,000. If it hit 120,000 behind being only through DAZN, the app, then that speaks volumes for his selling point, because he did about that number, 150K, with Lomachenko. But he did it with Lomachenko where it was a normal pay-per-view situation where you could go and buy it on, TV, normal pay-per-view. It was ESPN pay-per-view. So he was able to pull pay-per-view numbers that were decent, right? These are numbers very similar to what Terrence Crawford was pulling before he fought Errol Spence Jr., right? So he's pulling very close to the 100,000 something pay-per-views. He's pulling pretty decent numbers. If he did 100 something thousand on DAZN and it isn't the 50,000 that they're talking about, then that's even more impressive to me, because then it shows there's growth there, because it's much harder. You have to subscribe to DAZN. It's only through the app. It's not through normal pay-per-view. So it makes it much more difficult. I think DAZN would probably be better suited by also allowing their pay-per-views to be able to be purchased on cable and not just be through the app. They should open their horizons a little bit more on that. And if you have the subscription with DAZN, then obviously through the app you will get the cheaper version, right? If it's $70 for you, it'll be $50. I think that's what they should do when it comes to their pay-per-views, just so that they can expose their content to more people, or expose the fighters to more people, so that the fighters could do well. I already see you guys talking about it, but this begs a big question. Who would win if they actually fought in 2024? I would say that Tank does need a super fight in 2024. I think that Tank, they're going to be very cautious as to what they do next with Tank, because Tank doing 1.2 million with Ryan Garcia is a huge leverage point. Huge. They could really leverage a lot and say, hey, look what Tank did in his last fight. But if Tank goes back out there and fights Isak Cruz in a rematch and ends up doing 250,000 pay-per-views, his leverage will drop substantially in compare. He'll still have leverage because ain't nobody pulling 200-something thousand pay-per-views on their own anyways. Tank, we know for a fact, can pull that on his own. So he has leverage. Nobody else is doing that, right? Except, Canelo, and that's it. But if Tank goes out and doesn't pull good numbers, right? He might not pull 1.2 million, but he should be pulling like 500,000 and more. Because if he isn't, then there's going to be a big question mark there. Oh, was this just the excitement of Ryan Garcia versus Tank finally happening? Was it Ryan that drove that viewership and that pay-per-view purchase? Because Ryan has the younger audience. Ryan has a big casual audience, and the casual audience, as I explained before, they don't do pay-per-views on the Fire Stick when it's free and they're pirating. The young audience that watches like the Jake Pauls and the KSIs and stuff, they don't pirate because they don't know how to do it. They don't be watching boxing enough to know how to do that. They just get their parents to buy the fight, or they are old enough, like maybe they're 19, 20 or whatever, and they buy the fight themselves. They don't pirate as much as a boxing diehard, because a boxing diehard, they know, like they've been watching it forever. They know where to go, how to get it. It's not an easy thing. It's a thing where it's word of mouth. You can't just find it on your own. It's going to be incredibly difficult. So, we got Love C Shorty in here with a $2 super chat. Let me put a heart right there real quick. Thank you very much, brother. Let's get you with the super chat video right quick. Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. Do it one more time. There we go. Thank you so much, Love C Shorty. My man says, sorry I'm late, missed the notification. It's all good, bro. Sometimes they don't send the notifications out. It is what it is. One thing that I'm enjoying is that Grand Theft Auto video where I'm talking about the boxing in Grand Theft Auto. It's actually doing pretty well, and it's getting another boost in views right now. So if you guys haven't seen it, go watch my video where I'm talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and the boxing minigame that could potentially be in Grand Theft Auto 6, since we've seen it before in the past. And the biggest criticism I feel like Grand Theft Auto is getting is the minigames, right? Grand Theft Auto 5, the biggest criticism that they got was that the minigames was kind of lackluster. So if they bring back minigames like they had in San Andreas, and boxing was one of them, and then they put it with a modern touch, right? The modern technology and everything, we might have something special with the boxing in Grand Theft Auto. We're going to shoot for the stars, right? But hopefully we land on the moon when it comes to what they're going to do with boxing in Grand Theft Auto. But let's go back to this tech thing. All right, so we got wait, hold on. Anthony Merchant, even though your O is gone, you can redeem that loss with a big prediction. Hey, man, listen. A prediction streak was bound to break at one point. It was bound to break because it ain't easy just hitting correct every single fight. That is not an easy task. Boxing, anything can happen. In this respect, it's not even so much that Sonny didn't do what he was supposed to do. It was just that Bam Rodriguez was truly that special. He's able to adjust. He was adjusting to the check punch, and he was able to really circumvent all of the tactics that Sonny Edwards was doing. And because Sonny Edwards didn't have enough power, and he was circumventing his attack, there was nothing. At one point, it was checkmate already. Like maybe in the 5th round, it was already checkmate. Bam Rodriguez knew what he needed to do and was able to complete his strategy to take Sonny Edwards out of there. So Bam just rose to the occasion. He just rose to the occasion, and it's going to be really tough to bet against Bam Rodriguez in the next one. These are the kind of things that let us know, oh, how good is he? If somebody's a really good boxer, how does he deal with that? Oh, look, okay, so now we know how he deals with a really good boxer. We know how he deals with a volume puncher. We know how he deals. And Bam is showing us more and more every day how good he really is. And that's why I put him in the pound-for-pound list after that performance. The man is now 10th on my pound-for-pound list. All right, we got Jay Shep saying Tank in 6. Oh, okay. Hold on. Y'all really think Tank gonna win? Tank wins. Okay. Tank via TKO. Bill does the Kenny Porter challenge that night. Wait, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I really don't know what you're talking about. The longer they sit on the Tank, the more casuals will forget about him. The longer they sit on Tank, the more casuals will forget about him. A lot of casuals bought the Tank versus Garcia fight because of Garcia. Do you think it was because of Garcia, or do you think it was because it was Garcia finally fighting Tank and Tank finally fighting Garcia? Because if Garcia, for example, went on pay-per-view against Duarte, how much do you think he does? I don't know if he does 250,000 pay-per-views. I would love to see Ryan in a pay-per-view fight that is removed from Tank. If Devin Haney doesn't get the Tank fight, the easiest fight that can be made right now for Devin Haney, right now, is Ryan Garcia. Because Ryan can't make 135 no more. Ryan's only making 140. So Ryan versus Devin, if they fought on pay-per-view, that will be incredibly telling, because we have data on Devin versus Loma, and we have data on Ryan versus Tank. And now we kind of have a little bit of data on Devin versus Regis Prograis. We need the common denominator. Tank fought Ryan, did 1.2 million. If Devin fights Ryan, how much is that gonna do? Even though it might not be as fair because it's not, undefeated versus undefeated. Ryan already lost to Tank. That was part of the allure as well. Like, you seeing Ryan just knocking people out easy, right? So it's like, well, what does he do if he goes against a Tank Davis, right? And then Tank Davis is undefeated. Will, Ryan be able to beat him? That's part of the allure as well. But seeing Tank versus Devin, I think that will tell us a lot. I mean, seeing Ryan versus Devin, I think that will tell us a lot, because we need to see, what does Ryan's pay-per-view numbers look like if it ain't a Tank in there, if there isn't a Tank in there. Hold on. We got Jay Shep with the $5 super chat. Hold on. We got to do the $5 super chat video. $5 super chat video. We got him right here. Let's go. $5 super chat video. Let's go. My goodness, hold on. Let's do that again. I don't care what nobody says. That knockout he did on Friday is not better than that Tyron Woodley knockout. That Tyron Woodley knockout is still his best knockout ever, period, bar none. Anyways, let's see what you got to say. I would say his power is more special than his skill. He cracked orbital around 2. Sonny was already handicapped. Yeah, so, Sonny stated that he was hurt, right? He stated he couldn't see. He was seeing double or whatever. But he was seeing double because the punches was landed before he was seeing double. You got to think about that, too. What I think is that Sonny was doing very well. Sonny was also in the trenches with him, which is very dangerous because Bam hits hard. And unfortunately, Sonny doesn't have that pop that Bam has, that Jesse has in his punches. So going toe-to-toe with Jesse Rodriguez at any point is playing into Jesse Rodriguez's hands, right? So kudos to him for doing that, but I think that also helped Jesse Rodriguez get into his groove, because if he hit him with those shots and got him hurt and all that stuff, he was able to capitalize on that stuff. He didn't even respect the check punch anymore at one point. That he would take the check punch and still advance into his attack. So, and that actually diminished the power of the check punch. It's like, don't even throw it, because if you throw the check punch, I'm going to eat the check punch, and then you're going to have to eat this huge left and right and all that. So it was a very, a very difficult fight overall for Sonny, because he couldn't keep him off. He couldn't keep Bam Bam off. And Bam Bam is not like a brain-dead boxer. He's not one of those guys that's just the war of attrition, the come on, let's go, knocking the gloves together guy. He's a boxer puncher. He's an intelligent guy that also wants to get you out of there. So it's going to be a very, very difficult, it was going to be very, very difficult for Sonny Edwards throughout the night anyways. He proved himself. Bam Bam Rodriguez proved himself, even against a boxer. That was the last kind of thing that I needed to see Bam Bam overcome. Can he really deal with a good boxer, right? He's dealt with, there's been problems that he's had having to adjust to people that were boxing well. I thought that would be able, that would negate him a little bit when it came to Sonny Edwards. But he proved to me that he could even deal with something like that. He could even deal with something like that. Hold on one second. Kenny Porter threw in the towel. Oh, I see what you're saying. Stop it, man. Stop it. Oh, hold up. I got to give a heart to Jay Shep. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Jay Shep. Much appreciated, brother. Kenny threw in the towel for Sean against Bud. I get you. I hear how you a hardcore and not get that reference. LOL. I wasn't thinking about it like that. That's the only reason. I wasn't thinking about it. Let's see. Tank versus Haney isn't going to happen anytime soon. I'm pretty sure of that. Tank versus Haney. Well, I do believe that Tank needs a super fight. He needs another one because he could run the risk of having bad pay-per-view performance. They're also moving on to a different platform. They're moving on to Amazon Prime. What are they going to do on Amazon Prime? Are they going to be able to do numbers on Amazon Prime without the platform, the platform that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like there was a consistency with Showtime Boxing. People were able to come to Showtime Boxing. They understood Showtime Boxing, right? So Amazon Prime is a whole new thing. Not everybody's on social media knowing that they switched to Amazon Prime. The casual fan don't even know that Showtime. There's a lot of casual fans that don't even know that Showtime is no longer going to carry boxing, right? You have to follow boxing information to even really, truly know that. So there's a lot that needs to be done for the next pay-per-view so that it doesn't bomb. And one thing you do not want to do is have a 1.2 million pay-per-view and then go back to your normal numbers from before. That's something you do not want to do. When you break through the ceiling, you want to make sure that you're close or going past that ceiling. When Floyd Mayweather broke through the ceiling, he made sure his numbers were never the same ever again. When he fought Oscar De La Hoya, he went from like doing 350-something thousand pay-per-views with a Carlos Baldomir fight to doing 2.4 million pay-per-view buys with Oscar De La Hoya, then doing 1 million with Ricky Hatton, then doing 1 million with Juan Manuel Marquez, and just so on and so forth. Never went under 1 million pay-per-view buys after his fight with Oscar De La Hoya, but it's because they positioned themselves intelligently. They did the smart thing. They found the correct opponent. They're going to have to do that with Tank. And I don't think a rematch with Isaac Cruz, even though they've been rumoring that, I truly believe that will be detrimental to the momentum that they've gotten from beating Ryan Garcia. Plus the leverage. Think about the leverage they can have against somebody like a Devin Haney if they make that fight happen. I think that they want the fight to happen. I think they really want the fight to happen because of the fact that they could point to their last pay-per-view being 1.2 million. So I think they truly do want the fight to happen. The only thing is, I don't think that they want the fight to happen under anything other than their own terms. They want the fight to happen on the background, in the back end, but they don't want it to happen where like it's a 50-50 thing or there's a lot of concessions made to the Haneys. They want it to be the Tank show. But hopefully he says yes. That's the vibe that I'm getting, because I'm sure they don't want to go and bomb in the pay-per-view numbers. Moving to Amazon Prime, doing all these things, they don't want to bomb with the pay-per-view numbers. I know for a fact. Like, come on now. That's bad business strategy. Yeah, I got to start picking the best possible guys out there. Truly start doing the Floyd Mayweather strategy, which is actually fighting the best. And then we can finally start putting Tank on a pound-for-pound list if he starts doing good against these guys. Because that's another point of contention. I got so many people jumping on my back that Gervonta Tank Davis isn't in the pound-for-pound list. If you want him on a list about who's the best in boxing and not who's the most popular, then he needs to start fighting Devin Haney. He needs to start fighting Shakur Stevenson. He needs to start fighting Lomachenko. That's who he needs to start fighting. He needs to start trying to win a world title. If you just fighting for money, that's fine. Fight for money if that's your strategy, because that's what it sounds like, right? When we hear Leonard Ellerby talk, he's like, you got to be bringing more than hardware, right? Which means you got to be bringing more than belts. I don't care about world titles. They care about money. That's their strategy. Their strategy is what's going to give us the bang for our buck. Okay, if that's your strategy, then nobody need to be crying when they're not on the pound for pound list, because their thing is not to be on the pound for pound list, is to make the most money. I find it funny when they kind of be like, oh, how Tank ain't on the pound for pound list. Like, his team will say that, and it'll be like, yo, because your whole strategy is designed for him not to be on the pound for pound list. It's designed for him to just make money. So, it is what it is. But I think that now that they hit the 1.2 million, the only way you keep that momentum going is if you consistently rotate in dance partners. And the way you do that is by fighting a Devin Haney and fighting a Lomachenko. You imagine how much pay-per-views they can make if it's Lomachenko versus Tank Davis? Huge. Those will be huge numbers if they could pull that off. Let me see. Dropping that bag. That's my last 5 till January. Thank you for that again, brother. Larry Woodard. I seen an interview of Devin where he said he only takes the fight that with Tank at 140 with no rehydration clause, so probably no fight. Yeah, but remember, what they tell us is just political posturing. If a fighter says something for the public to hear it, that's political posturing. That's one of the reasons why I always say take what these fighters say with a grain of salt. Take what they say with a grain of salt, because it could just be a leverage tactic. It could be a way for him to be like, because if let's say he says, oh, I'll fight him at a catchweight. Now you're working from a catchweight down. But if you really want a catchweight, you could say, I'll fight him at 140. If you say I'll fight him at 140, they'll be like, you're not fighting me at 140. I'll make the choices. I'll make the decisions. I'll do a catchweight with you. So now it's like his idea. Catchweight is his idea, not my idea. I said 140. He want 138 or 137, whatever it is. He want the catchweight. So I'm going to do the catchweight that he wants. But if you say, I want a catchweight, he'd be like, no catchweight, come to me at 135. It's all political posture. He could genuinely want to fight at 140. I'm just saying we don't know, because they do this all the time. How many times you see something like this, and the next thing you know, for example, Ryan Garcia said exactly this, except he didn't mention the rehydration clause. But he said if Tank wanted, we got to go to 140. What ended up happening? They still ended up fighting at 135 with a rehydration clause. Right? So, like, you never know, man. They can say one thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what their hard line is. It's just, I'm going to put this out in the ether, and then I'm going to see what they respond with. What is going to be their response? If they say, you got to meet us at a catchweight, bare minimum, we'll meet you at a catchweight. That's as far as we're going to go. Then they could be like, all right, cool. This is what we really wanted, so we'll do the catchweight. So it just got to be, it could happen. It still could happen. It doesn't seem likely, but it still could happen. I think that they do need a fight that's big. I don't think they can sit around just fighting a regular Joe Schmo anymore. I'm going to be honest. When I say 2023 has to be the top 10 most packed years in boxing, 2023 is the best year in modern boxing history. 2023 is the best year in modern boxing history. Inoue will become 2-time undisputed in 2023. Terrence Crawford became the first man to become 2-time undisputed in 2023. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence finally fought in 2023. Inoue and Fulton finally fought in 2023. Bam Rodriguez fought Sonny Edwards in 2023. Day of Reckoning is going to happen where this is crazy. Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin and Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker in 2023, right? Francis Ngannou shook the world in 2023 by losing to Tyson Fury by 1 point, by one slither of a point, because of one judge. One judge gave it to him, one judge gave it to Tyson Fury, and one judge gave it to Tyson Fury by 1 extra point. That's how close, razor-thin margin it was, while also knocking down Tyson Fury. So we also got the pleasant surprise. We got the whole thing. We got the knockouts. We got the pleasant surprise, right? I mean, We got Benavidez versus Plant, Benavidez versus Boo Boo Andre. The entire year has just been magnificent. Loma versus Haney, right? Haney versus Regis Prograis. The entire year has just been magnificent. And to me, it's the best year in modern boxing history. It's a better year than 2015, which had Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Because all that did was have Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao, right? 2023 literally had everything you wanted and then some. Things that we didn't even think we wanted to see, which was Ngannou versus Fury. After that fight, we couldn't believe our eyes. So, yeah, 2023 is the best year. And we almost had Usyk versus Fury in that day of reckoning, by the way. We almost had it in that day of reckoning, but because Fury did so good, Ngannou did so good, he ruined it for us boxing fans to see an amazing December showdown. He basically ruined it. He ruined it. But we almost had that happen. But yes, it is 100% the without a doubt the best day period, year period. Tank needs to fight Tio or Loma. If he fights Tio or Loma, it's going to be fire. If he fights Tio or Loma, it's going to be fire. I think Tio is aggressively attacking Matias' fight. Kudos to Tio for doing that because, what was the last 5 opponents retired on their stool versus Matias? Matias has 1 loss, and he avenged that loss by making the person retire on his stool. And Matias is a little bit of a scary fighter for a lot of people, but I think Teofimo, he feels confident, especially after that Josh Taylor performance. He feels confident. I mean, to me, Devin Haney's best chance is not even a Tio fight, is a Ryan Garcia fight because he's on the zone. Ryan Garcia is on the zone. It's just an easier fight to put together. I would love to see that fight happen too because although it might not mean anything legacy-wise for Devin Haney, it means a lot clout-wise for Devin Haney. He'll siphon a lot of audience members if he fights a Ryan Garcia. But yes, I would agree. A Tio or Loma, but I think Tio might be possible, and Loma, they're both in top rank, right? So they're both equally as possible to me. A Tio would be much more exciting, in my opinion, and I think that they were moving towards a Tio fight in the past when he was having his Sander Martin problems. I haven't heard them say much about Tio, since the Josh Taylor win. But before the Josh Taylor win, I was hearing Floyd Mayweather say stuff like, we want Teofimo Lopez. So Haney and Tank have too many disagreements on contract clauses at the moment for it to happen. But we got to see. Remember, it's political posturing when we hear about it. Until it's on the back end, we don't know what's going on the back end when they're making contracts. It's political posturing when we hear it, though. When we hear it, we just always take it with a grain of salt. Could be true, but it could just be posturing. I agree, Tank isn't pound for pound at the moment, and I'm a big Tank fan. Exactly. I'm a fan of Tank, too. People think I'm hating on Tank. It's like I'm not hating on Tank, bro. This is a list, not about who wows me when they fight low-quality opponents. This is a list of the best fighters in the world. Who do I think could beat the guy below him if weight was not an issue, right? And also, we got to respect accomplishments, too, right? I can't say Tank is better than Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez if Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney both became undisputed. If they fought like the guys, like a Lomachenko, right? But Tank is not fought a Lomachenko. Tank is not even a world champion. How can I say that he's better if he has not fought within the ranking system to even become a world champion, let alone undisputed? You can't do that. Is he more popular? Does he sell pay-per-views? Yes. But that's not what we're talking about here. I think the thing is his popularity clouds people's judgments. It's just like Canelo. People think Canelo should be so much higher because his popularity clouds people's judgments. He was outboxed by Bivol. to me, Canelo has yet to redeem being outboxed by Bivol. Barely scratching by against John Ryder and a win against Jermell Charlo does not put him in a position where he's redeemed the loss, in my opinion. Teofimo beating Lomachenko and then losing to Kambosos, having a lackluster performance with Sandor Martin, but then completely outclassing Josh Taylor, that redeems the loss for me for Teofimo Lopez, especially since we already know that he beat Lomachenko when Lomachenko was unbeatable, when nobody was beating Lomachenko. And people could say, shoulder injuries and all that. I don't want to hear it. Everybody got a shoulder injury when they lose. I don't want to hear it. That Lomachenko was beating everybody up. And Teofimo Lopez won. I agree with everything you said. Tank needs to fight for the WBO belt and have that killer in him like Pacquiao did. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Look at Pacquiao. Pacquiao fought for all the belts, man. Pacquiao became an 8-division champion. Which, by the way, Inoue has a potential to get close to Manny Pacquiao's division championship. He's, 4 divisions already? If he moves up, he could probably squeeze 2 more divisions, I think. We could squeeze 2 more divisions out of Inoue. He makes it to 6. Damn, 8 is tough, bro. 8 is tough. This is how you know that what Manny Pacquiao did was a very difficult thing to do. Because 8 divisions is tough. Although I don't think he was 8-division world champion. But he was 8-division champion. Gervonta's only chance at selling big at his current state is Lopez. Stevenson at 140. But Stevenson will be at 135. And Lopez will be at 140. Or Lomachenko at 135. If he's bold enough, his chances of huge buys increase if makes the leap to welterweight. What? You imagine? I don't see him doing that. I don't see him making that leap to welterweight. That's not... I'm not seeing that. And to top it off, the heavyweight card this weekend, definitely best year. Yeah. That December card. That Wilder versus Parker and Otto Wallin versus Anthony Joshua is crazy. Don't forget Katie versus Amanda. Or no, I think that was last year, actually. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was last year. I could be wrong, but I think that was last year. What's your fight wish list for next year? I would love to see Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney. I would love to see Shakur Stevenson versus Lomachenko. Canelo Alvarez versus Benavidez. I would say Usyk versus Fury, but that's already made. So that's not really a wish list. That's just wait and watch the fight. But I hope it doesn't get derailed, right? I would love for that fight to happen. I would love to see the rematch with Crawford versus Spence, just so that Crawford can move on to bigger and better things, and then hopefully see a fight with Crawford maybe against Canelo or something, maybe against Jermell Charlo at 154. That's also a possibility. I would love to see Caleb Plant versus Jermall Charlo, especially after Jamal's performance with Jose Benavidez. He looked fantastic to me. So I think that he looked comfortable. He didn't look rusty or he didn't look very rusty. He looked kind of sharp in there. So it would be cool to see him versus Caleb Plant. There's a story behind that one. So that'd be a cool thing to see. There's a lot of fights, man. There's a lot of fights that I would love to see. But yeah, those are the guys. Those are the ones that are at the top, tippity top of my wish list. Those are the fights that I want to see in 2024. And I would love to see Tank versus somebody, right? Tank versus anybody would be amazing. Tank trying to win a world title would be amazing to me. At this rate, I think Inoue will be the only fighter willing to move up that won't duck Shakur. Oh man, imagine Inoue versus Shakur. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The dude Shakur Inoue is going to be a two-time. He's a two-time. But it would be so far away because he would have to move up to 127 or 126, 127. I forget the exact number. And then he would have to move up. So that would put him at 5. Then move up to 130. That put him at 6. Then move up to 135. That put him in 7 divisions. That would put that man in 7 divisions. If I was him, I would just squeeze 2 more just to take it away from Manny Pacquiao. Somehow get your butt to 147 and just take it away from Manny Pacquiao and do it with the world titles. Oh my God, that'd be crazy. That would be crazy. But we'll have to wait and see. If anybody could do it, I think it's Inoue. He has enough skills for his skills to protect him from being too small for everybody. But we'll have to wait and see. I never understood though. You got to bring more than hardware. These big fights will bring in big money, so why not make the fights unless I'm missing something? But that's what he's saying when he says you got to bring in more than hardware. He doesn't mind the hardware, right? That's what I hear when he says that is I don't mind your world title, but you got to bring something more than just a world title, right? You can have a world title, but if you not, if nobody knows your name, I don't care. But I think that Devin Haney brings more than just hardware. Like Tank versus Devin Haney is a good money fight. Tank versus Teofimo is a good money fight. Do they have hardware? Yes. Is it a good money fight? Yes. Tank versus Loma. Loma don't got no hardware now, but is it a good fight? Yeah, it's a good fight. But rumor has it that Loma is setting up a fight with Kambosos for a WBC title eliminator, and then that person will fight Shakur Stevenson for the WBC title. I'm not mad at that. I want to see Shakur versus Lomachenko, so I'm not mad at that. Bivol versus Beterbiev, that's another one too. That'll be for Undisputed, but it won't sell. LOL, both aren't the only thing that matters. But that's a good one. That's another one that I want to see in 2024, by the way. That's another one. By the way, Bivol's fighting on Day of Reckoning also. The Day of Reckoning is crazy. It's crazy. It's a mixture of popularity and accomplishments that sells fights. Yeah. Sometimes not even accomplishments, just popularity. What has Ryan done? In terms of accomplishments, not anything. Nothing. He's not won any world titles ever. But he worked social media with thinking outside of the box. He's not just posting his fights. He's working within the social media system and how to generate an audience. And he had enough clout from doing that he actually got a 1.2 million pay-per-view with Gervonta Tank Davis. The only way to know who is better, they fight all in their class. Boxing is not a popularity contest. Well, exactly. But when it comes to making money, this is the thing that makes boxing different from all the other sports. It's prize fighting. Everything is contractual. Every fight is a new contract. It's not like if you're in the NBA, that's the contract that you're in the NBA. You're going to have to face everybody that the NBA makes you face based on whatever bracket system that they built. Win-loss system that they built or whatever, right? Some random generated way to make sure you play everybody a certain amount of times. But boxing is different. It's prize fighting as well. It's a business and a sport. And each individual fight is its own business. So it's a much more difficult, much more nuanced because of the money that lends to a lot of politics. It makes it harder for us to know what's really going on. Man, he had to be juiced to the gills. Man, come on now. We don't know that for sure. He never tested positive. Boxing is prize fighting. It's a business. There you go. I just said that. Canelo Crawford is the hottest fight next year. Hot. I mean, Crawford is a superstar now. Canelo's always been a superstar. I think that fight does a lot of numbers. It is possible that fight does more numbers than Benavidez versus Canelo because there's not many people that know Benavidez. I think Benavidez did 60,000 in his fight versus Boo Boo Andre. that ain't good, right? That's not good, especially through the marketing beast and the machine that's Showtime pay-per-view that has been shown to do numbers like 800 or something thousand, Caleb Plant versus Canelo. 600 or 700 something thousand with Canelo and Jermell Charlo, a 154 pounder, and Canelo Alvarez was able to pull around 700 something thousand pay-per-views. Showtime can sell a fight, and for them to not be able to sell crack, they only did 60,000. That is very telling towards the pull in terms of Benavidez's fandom. However, I do think that it'll be the Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis effect, where when you finally put those two together, it's magic. Just like Crawford. Crawford would only do 120,000 pay-per-views or 150,000 pay-per-views, but you put Crawford and Errol Spence finally together, and they do 700 and something thousand pay-per-view buys, right? Because there is a magic between the two people that people's wanting to see fight for a while finally meet up. And I think that that's something that will happen if Canelo and Benavidez fight next year. Hopefully they fight in May. I would love for them to fight in May. Don't prolong it. Things go wrong when you continue to prolong the fight. I hope he fights Benavidez in May, and that way he can fight Crawford no matter what happens against Benavidez in May. That's how I see it. Because people will still be interested because Crawford will be moving up in weight. If he beats Benavidez, I think it would be much more difficult to sell that to Canelo to fight Crawford. If he loses to Benavidez, he could probably fight Crawford, and it'll be a bigger sell for Canelo. Mentally, he would be like, okay, this makes sense because I just lost. And it's a big money fight. All right. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and end it there. Of course, 1 hour on the hour. We're just about a minute off. Every Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays from 7 p.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time, we go live for the Boxing Fanatico episodes, Boxing Fanatico live shows. And we're going to be on episode 88 on Wednesday. So I love it. I love it. Keep it going. We're going to keep it going. Thank you so much for showing up and showing out. Thank you, Michael R. Davis, for becoming a member. Much appreciated. And, of course, thank you, Love C. Shorty and Jay Shep for the super chats. Always appreciated. Guys, if you haven't hit the like, please. It helps the videos. People watch these videos after the fact. They watch these videos on demand. So please hit the like and hit the subscribe button, because we shadow drop videos just like the Grand Theft Auto boxing in Grand Theft Auto video that I dropped yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago. We do stuff like that. You never know when we're dropping a video, right? So go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well, and all notifications, so you know when we go live and if we drop a video. Of course, as always, we will see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much, guys. Peace out. I'll see you on Wednesday. Peace out, guys.